Okay. All right. So, as an overview, DMS Spray provide, I guess you'd call it coating solutions for wardrobes, cupboards, and that sort of thing. So, prefabricated panels get delivered to you, and then you spray paint them. Usually, like a 2-pack process, and it gets sprayed, it gets dried, and then shipped off to job site where it gets assembled into a functioning wardrobe, cabinet, or whatever it happens to be. The purpose of this system is to provide something that will enable people to record potentially a quote or a job, and the pricing is based on the number of square metres of paint that's being applied. So when we look at a surface, we can imagine a big panel of wood, and it's what's being painted. Is it the front? Is it the back? Is it both? Is it the left side, the right side, the top, or the bottom? And so that's what we're talking about. So we need to measure the dimensions of what's being done and what's being painted, the type of paint, the finish, and all of these combine together to determine the cost. Sound like a good overview? And so the purpose of this system is to be able to set up a quote that we can send off to the customer, and then from there to be able to convert that quote into a job. In some cases we'll go straight to a job, record the details of that job quickly, and then use that to produce an invoice.
Which is the primary, that will be the primary function.
Alright, so I've made a note here which we've just discussed, is that this needs to work on a tablet, and that shouldn't be a problem. Protected by username and password. The person will log in. Now the default behaviour when someone logs in is it will go and actually to the create job page.
Yes. Perfect. Actually, a quick question I may or may not have asked. I doubt very much this will ever be an issue, but you never know. What would happen in the instance that 2 people are logged in at once?
No problem. They only can't edit the same job at the same time.
Right.
2 people at the same time is no
So
issue.
the quote/job number is automatically allocated as soon as you enter this screen. So if someone else enters, it will obviously be a different number.
That's right. Yeah.
Same as 0, really.
Now, actually, there is a point. Do you want us when you go in to generate the number, or would you rather us do it when you save it for the first time? Because
your job number.
In Xero, the only thing I can relate it to is when I go into Xero to create the invoice, it allocates a number just like you put there, and then when you hit save, it'll confirm that. But if you've been sitting in this screen for a while and someone else has invoiced something in that time, then that number will change. That will adjust to the next number up.
So what I would say for us to do the same thing is that we'd leave that blank, and then when you save it, it will generate the number. Or if you email it, or if you produce a summary document, because any one of those needs a reference number.
Okay, I can't really think of it as any main differences.
The main thing is just that, if Damien, every time he logs in, it goes to the new job, and then the first thing you do is go and search for a job, then the issue will be is that you'll burn through your job numbers.
And nothing makes
Some people don't care.
That's we'll do it that way.
Okay.
Only if you actually do something with it.
So this will generate the job number when it gets saved or emailed or summary. Now you can search for a job. So at the moment you can search for a job by the job name, the description, the customer name, by the colour of paint that's used, the customer, when it arrived, or the status. So we have in progress, lost, ready to invoice, or invoiced. You can hit create a job. And then when we create a job, at the first point, the status is quote. And then as we go through, we can win it, at which point the status becomes in progress. We can lose it, at which point it becomes lost. One job can be completed, and a job that's completed can be invoiced. And if you lose a job, you can actually win a job.
Is it still stored if you mark it as lost?
Absolutely. So, a job can be lost and then you can find it again and win it. Because they might call you up and say, you know what, those guys that we decided to use, they were jokers, can you do it for us?
Yeah.
And you go, yeah, no problem.
I get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Actually. That's when I go the price is more now. I normally do.
So here you pick your customer. So there is a CRM here, which we'll go through in a moment. You've got your job name, the date that it came in, the date that it went out, a description, the colour. Now the colour is a special case because it's a text field, but when I pick sky, it will come up with previous colours that you've entered.
Excellent.
But it will only come up with each one once. So if you put sky blue on 5 jobs, it's not going to come up sky blue, sky blue, sky blue.
Right,
but it might be sky blue and sky cloud white, for example.
Whatever has that word in there.
Yeah.
Quick question, with the date in and date out, are those fields mandatory or can...
They're optional.
Excellent. Because that's something the boys don't always complete. I know at the moment we don't need, we've got it, but we don't need it.
We just don't have the time to fill it out properly. So
I was thinking that in the invoice, obviously when it's generated through Xero, it will automatically be done on the date that it's created, so to speak.
Yes.
So otherwise I would have suggested for dating to automatically set to the date that you're in this screen creating the quote, but that's not necessary because when you create an invoice in Xero, the date is already inserted in there. So this isn't really necessary. Just leave that. Just forget I said anything.
Okay.
Yes, you're just thinking out loud.
We've
Sorry.
got finish, the tint fee, the number of pieces. Now there's a point here where when you complete a job, it will check that the number of pieces here matches the number of pieces which we'll get to. If they don't match, you can't complete the job unless you hit this override button. If you hit the override button, it will then allow you to complete the job. We've got any capping, how many capping, number of linear meters, and then we've got the dollars per linear meter for that. Additional costs like freight or whatever, and you just hit add and add more items to this row, and you can delete those additional costs.
With the capping, I know that it's always per linear meter, but when you guys write it on the sheet, it's never in meters. Like today.
Because we don't work in meters.
You work in millimeters.
We work with millimeters.
So you're going to have to...
But what is it? It's the same.
Well, in that field, that's going to calculate...
Do we want to make this millimeters and we can just divide by 1,000 to make it?
Yeah, because it's just the way we work.
That's what I was going to suggest. Because to a client we say that in the invoice generally it shows up per linear meter.
Yeah.
Because that is how we charge per linear meter.
It's simple, but when you're on the phone, I'm sometimes because I'm used to work with millimeters, and sometimes people will go like 750, and I'm thinking I know that he's meaning probably 7 meters.
Yeah, 7.5.
7.5, and I'm like, okay. That's what you mean. Takes me a while to.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I noticed that on the quote sheets, when you guys are working everything out, it's all in millimeters. I had a perfect example today.
All right, so this is the core function. Then we've got the pieces. So the pieces are all of the different items that make up a job. So a piece is effectively a piece of wood or material that's being coated in some way.
Yes.
And these are grouped because you'll have a group of panels that might be white, you might have a group of panels that are cherry red with a gloss, and a group of panels that are cherry red with a matte. And so that's these groups, which are grouped A, B, C, and so on and so on. So these groups we've called sections.
Yeah.
So you hit add a section, and then here we have what's the description. So is it flat, beveled, recess, or route out?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Route out.
That's all right.
Then we've got any extras here. So we've got raw MDF, assembled, double, triple, dark colour, rag stain, spray toning, J handles and buffering.
Yeah.
These all affect the price, and we'll
Yeah.
get to that when we talk about pricing. We've got the colour. Now this will be blank. If you leave it blank, it uses the colour we put on the job.
Yeah.
If not, it will auto-complete as per other.
No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to get another iPad. I'm gonna give Mike a couple of different jobs with different things on it, and he can try it out Christmas over and over. So when we start next year, then he knows what to do.
Okay, so then here we have the finish. So we've got, these different types of finish. These again have an impact on cost. We've got gloss percentage. Then we've got a description. Now this is only if the group is a one-off group. We've got the rate, and this doesn't show for custom. So custom groups and one-off groups are the same thing. And so this rate will automatically populate based on all of the options that we've picked here and here. It will calculate a rate, but then you can override that rate if need be. And so that rate is a rate per square metre. Now, if it's a custom or one-off, then we've got this per item price. And so you would type that in. And so because we don't have quantities for custom items.
Yeah, that's right.
You should even start working on this on your own first until you get it.
Yeah, when it's ready.
Actually, we've kept the quantity for custom items. Did we want to leave that in?
Yes. Yes, actually.
Right, and that's why we've called it a per item price.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and it's a price per unit, so we've been quite particular about that.
Yeah.
So what we don't have for custom items is we don't have any of the measurements.
Measurements, yeah, that's right. They're not necessary.
Okay.
They're like miscellaneous.
Yeah. All right. So then we've got an item. So how do we add an item? So we've gone and we've created a section. So we've gone and created a section. That's gone and done all that. That works out our price per square metre. Then we need to add. So we've got a red gloss flat panel at $95 a square metre. What happens now is that we start to type in the measurements. So it's length, width, and the thickness. So we start to type in, so we might go 300, and then that will come up with any matching here within the same section. So let's say 300, if I typed in 900, so 900 will match this one, but it wouldn't match that one because that's different. It's being buffed, this one isn't being buffed. Now, in the case, I can go 900.100.30. Now, because I've done 30, it doesn't match, and I hit enter, and there's a requirement note here. So they go and they new length and width with the formula length.width is entered. A new row will be added with the value set for length and width. So what happens is I go 900.300, I hit enter, and it will then go and add in a blank row here automatically. Now the other option is I can pick the existing one, and if I pick the existing one, then it will increment that by 1. So that 1 would then go to 2. And so every time I'm typing in and I go, okay, I've got a 400, it's 400 by 16, and then bang, I hit that, and then that increments by 1.
Yeah.
Now it is possible for me to go, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just keep clicking the pluses on that.
Yeah.
I can adjust the length, width, and the thickness here if I want. And then here we've got what's actually being coated.
Yeah.
So we've got the top. So imagine that we have a panel. So we've got the front of the panel is the large area. We've got the rear or the back of the panel. We've got the top, and so the top is just the margin, the top edge, the bottom, which is the opposite side, the left and the right, and then here we have a quick, if you tick that, edges all round, which just ticks those boxes. DS means double-sided, and that means that we're painting the front and the back of the panel.
Perfect.
Now there is a part for the calculation of how this is done.
Can I mention something?
Yeah.
Because I didn't pick on that until you actually said it. Can that be moved like on top of each
You mean in top of each section? Yeah, we can do that. So what you're talking about is the length, the width. Well, really, let's have all of them done. Because really the quantity, the length, the width, the thickness. Okay, so really move table header per section. Okay, that's easy enough. So then we've got the formula for the area. So we can see we've got the face area. So the total area is the face plus the area of the edges. So the face area is the length times the width, and if it's doubled if it's double-sided, and then multiplied by the quantity.
Yeah.
Then the edges, we've got the length times the thickness, and then we times it by 2 if it's the left and the right hand side. If it's just the left or the right, then it's just one of them, and if it's neither, then we don't do it. And then here for top and bottom, it's the width times the thickness, and then we multiply all of that again by the quantity.
Yeah, excellent.
So that works out those. So we've moved the headers down here. We can always click on this to make changes to it, which will change the price. We've got the square meterage here. Then we've got the ability to email a summary. So what this will do is it will generate the summary document and email it to the customer.
Okay.
We've also got the summary sheet. So we click on the summary sheet, and here's one that we've worked on. So we've got your logo at the top, job number, customer, description. Then we've got each of the sections, and we've got quantity, length, width, thickness, what's being done, square metre, unit price, and then the total price, and then subtotals for areas.
The title to go on top of each group.
What title?
Again?
This header,
the
the
header
row
on
header.
top of whatever group, or not.
Well, no, that's just a summary. That's for the clients.
Yeah.
That's
So whatever's
that's
beneath that,
Yeah.
obviously falls in whatever.
I only wanted it on the one that we're working on because
Right.
Because
Yeah,
on the
just on the
iPad,
stage.
it's a little bit easier.
Is group 1 and group 2 what used to be? What is
That
now
should be A and B.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be A and B.
No dramas.
So I'm just going to say that to change to A and B.
because otherwise that will get confused with the doors. You know how we got group 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. No, we have changed that. Yeah.
Well, and this is probably half of the work done. We still got the other area.
We've got the additional fees here, so we've got tinting, capping, and freight. Alright, and then, so then once it's completed, it will then move the status over to ready to invoice. Then finally we have send invoice, and it will prompt, are you sure? And then once that's done, we'll go and send the invoice to 0. So that will get pushed into 0, set the status to invoiced, and email a copy of the invoice and the summary PDF to the client.
Perfect. Yeah.
Now here with the CRM, I'll just go to search company first. So here we've got search company, and really you're just searching by the company name, email, phone, mobile, address, contact name, phone, pretty much
So
everything.
you can put anything in there.
Yep. And then here we've got the company name, their address, their postcode, and some basic details here. Nothing fancy.
Yeah.
And then we've got the pricing.
Oh, what about their like if each customer has their own trading conditions? Like some people have 14-day accounts and a couple of people have 30-day accounts, but that's already set up in 0. So would that take
That will
from?
go on the invoice, yeah, from 0. And actually that's a good point, because there's 2 things that I missed, thank you.
Okay.
Which is that their 0 code needs to be entered here,
Yeah.
And you need to have you need to have a price list, which is where we're going next, because different companies pay different prices.
Yeah.
So if we go to prices, these are your price lists.
Okay.
So we have, good client, bad client, client that attacks your dog.
Yeah.
Price list. There's like a special clause on it.
Plus 10%.
Plus break into your house.
Yeah.
So here we have the pricing. So here we've got the base cost, so based on flat panel, beveled edge, recessed panel or route out, and then depending upon the finish, tells us the price per square metre in this grid. Each price list has a name. These prices are ex-GST, just so that we're all clear.
Okay.
And then we have extras. So these aren't the real extras prices.
Yeah.
You are like, wow, maybe out like bandits. So these are all the different extras. Now these extras are configurable, so there is a screen that will allow you to create new extras.
Oh, excellent.
And those extras will appear here, and in addition, they will appear in the extras section. So let's just make a note, DB. And then one other thing which I've noticed is that we just need an add custom. So in order to add a custom section, what were we calling that again? Sorry. I think we have called it custom.
Because that can be...
Because here it says custom.
Yeah.
So shall we call... So here we've got add section, add custom.
Just for that field, just for the custom.
Just to add custom.
We'll just keep it as custom.
Yeah.
So not too confused.
Okay. So then going back to the pricing, so we've got the extras and then a tint fee, which is per job. So that means that in terms of how that's calculated is actually, because we got rid of that, we said the tint fee was going to be done manually, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we actually don't need it on the price list. Shall we remove it or just leave it there in case you...
If we do have it there, what would be the benefit of having it there?
Well, there wouldn't be.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Look, in all honesty, there is 9 out of 10 or 9.9 out of 10 times there is a $25 tint fee for any colour.
Yeah.
Apart from our standard white.
Yeah.
So that's generally the rule.
Could we just copy the tint fee in there and you can put a 0 in if you don't want to? So whatever the tint fee you've set up for that client, you can pop that in.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Right.
In all honesty, like I said, chances are I'll either have to manually put in 25 there with every order, unless it's a standard white.
Yeah, so let's say when client is selected, copy the client's tint fee.
Yeah. That's fine, as long as it can be manually removed or whatnot, then that's not a problem.
Alright, and is there anything else that I've missed? I think I've gone through everything. One thing that we need is that we've got the status of quote, and so just on the job search we need to have status quote.
Okay. With what page are we on?
This is the job search.
Job search. When we were talking just a moment ago about the extras and how that can be modified in the sense that I can add extras or whatnot. With what was next to extras? There we go. The descriptions.
The description, yeah.
Is that something I can add?
Not at the moment. Is that something you need?
Not right now, but it's just one of those things that until I start using it, I'm just afraid that we may have forgotten I can't think of anything else. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Well, yeah, you got flat panel, bevel edges.
Recess are the ones that we commonly get. What else?
See, for example, now I just picked on one, V grooves.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in my zero inventory, if you will, I've got quite a few there.
Okay, so
yeah,
we'll
like
allow this to
that can randomly change because even the radial. See, you got radial, we got one price for the radial, but then if it's 3 steps, you know, some doors you got 1 step, 2, and 3. Yeah. Then it'll still be a radial, but I will call it a 3-step radial.
But in that case, you'd select route out in description, and in extras, I believe you have. I think this is what Mike helped with, where there's a double step or a triple step. I can't remember what the extras look like again. So there's double, triple.
Well, no, because we were gonna at the time
we were gonna make those extras,
and we changed the square meter. That's it.
Yeah, we said we were gonna make double and triple as extras.
Yeah.
So it seems that there's a lot of cases you won't need to add that. So, but I've put in now that you can change it.
Oh, okay.
So, unless you say no, don't bother.
Well, let's leave it as it is, because then if you have to change it later, then you're gonna have to contact me.
So you want to leave it as it is then?
Well, it's not gonna make any difference.
What would you have me do if you have a V groove? Can it still be classified as a route out?
I'd put that as an extra.
Yeah.
That's why we did the extras and made it actually. I'd forgotten about that. So.
And just leave a button there where you can keep adding things as you're going along with work or jobs.
So how would that appear?
So what will happen is that under the admin menu there'll be a section called descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll go into that, and then you'll just add in an additional description. There'll be another one. Yeah, so there'll be one for extras.
Okay. So I'm just, if we go back to the quote.
Yeah. Oh, that's not
page.
quite.
And we go to pieces. Okay, just close that box for me. On the actual, I'm just trying to think, on the actual quote, like if we get a PDF copy or whatever it is, would it show the description? Yes, it would show the description. If it was an extra, would it just say extra?
I don't think it would show the extra, but we can put the name of the extra there.
Because I'm just trying to think of an example like the V groove. Okay, I wouldn't select it wouldn't be flat panel, wouldn't be recess, wouldn't be anything. So can I not select a description and just choose an extra?
Can you, sorry?
Yeah.
Because you have to pick one of these.
Well,
you have to pick flat panel or beveled or recess. But then if you pick beveled and then pick V groove.
Would I pick in that instance route out and then V groove?
Can you say that again?
Okay, we have a V groove panel.
Yeah.
How are we going to invoice it if V groove is not a description? Would I select route out and then V groove?
Well, V groove, the thing is that we have name for everything, but the customers can actually call a V groove panel a recess because there's just all little recesses into the panel.
Well, route out is the same thing. It's route out.
There's just names. Okay, at the end of the day, you can always do recess, but then and then on the square meter, right, charge it as a V groove. Right?
Is the price based on the description or?
No.
No. Okay.
We put in the prices.
The price is based on what extras.
Yeah.
And the description, because it's the two of them together. It's that plus that.
That's what I mean. That's going to be the problem.
And the finish.
Come up
I'm
with
trying to
something.
think. Hang on. I'm trying to think.
So if we look at the pricing here, you know, you've got your beveled edge, satin finish, gives you that price, and then your V groove will be an addition.
Add on.
Exactly.
So that's just complicating things because we already have a price for V groove. So what I would have to do with this is put in In Ralliart, the price minus whatever's going to be as the extra. It's just complicating things.
Well, here, if you've got the ability to add to that, then you just add vGroove in.
Yeah, that's why I'd much rather play with the description than extras at this stage. I mean, extras is good for what are in fact extras, but when the description is like the base cost, the base product, we already have a set price for, I definitely need it in description.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, definitely. Less mucking about that way.
Sorry?
Yeah.
And if it's configurable, you can always leave it like that and do the other way. You don't lose anything by making it, having the ability to change that.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, just so I can add more to that list.
Yep.
That would be great.
I think that covers everything.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, there will be a way to fix things because once we on it, working on it, and
I'm happy with that.
Awesome. I'll stop the recording then. I think we've covered everything.